Now that I have my indoor compound relatively tuned and set up here for 20 yards, I'm going to shoot an indoor round for score, the first time shooting inner 10 ring with a target compound in probably 2 decades. So we'll see how it goes today here on the channel. So like I said there in the intro, I spent the last bit of the week working on getting this bow dialed in. This is the Matthews TRX 38 G2, and I got it kind of set up for my indoor arrows here, these 2315 aluminum arrows from Easton. These are the X23s before they came out with the two-tones, so it's all silver. And I had a brand new dozen that I built up. I was going to shoot them out of my recurve a long time ago before I ended up retiring. And good thing I kept them and hung on to them because now I've got a target rig for a compound. And if you're interested in seeing me set up and tune this bow with these arrows, I will have a link down in the description below and a card at the top up there to the previous video that leads me into this video here today, where I am going to be shooting my scoring round for the Kaminski Archery Backyard Championships. This is, like I said, the indoor round. So I will be shooting 60 arrows here at 20 yards or 18 meters for score, and I will be doing inner 10 ring scoring. I have a camera down range so you can see the impact points the entire time. I'm going to be doing it on a vertical 3-spot, and it is regulation, so there is only the X ring, which is the 10 ring down there, but you don't have to shoot it on this target face if you're interested in participating in the Kaminski Archery Backyard Championships. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically a digital mail-in tournament that we are currently running where archers from around the world are competing currently and submitting their scores for 4 different disciplines, actually technically 5, recurve, barebow, compound, traditional, and a kids round if you're young enough. Many different age brackets, different divisions. We even have para rounds. We have all sorts of stuff. Basically, anybody who wants to participate can, and the way you sign up is you head to my website, jakekaminski.com, and you register. You only pay your entry fee once, and you can submit your scores for all different disciplines, like your compound, recurve, and traditional round or something like that, and you don't have to pay again. You can just submit your scores for all of those. And we are finally starting to see a decent amount of international participation. I believe last year, my wife said we had 28 different countries participate, and we'd like to see that be over 35 this year. So if you're from some countries that are very small and maybe you're the only archer in the entire country, we'd love to see a score submitted from you. And this year we're running a giveaway alongside the tournament. The giveaway is a Easton X10 Parallel Pro 3.2 millimeter package. Yes, this is the indoor season and this is the indoor round, but you can still win some killer outdoor arrows, including tungsten points in your choice of spine and weight. And we are going to ship those worldwide, so be sure to get entered into the Backyard Archery Championships, and I'll have links down in the description below for both the Backyard Archery Championships as well as the giveaway information, so you can check that out because there are also free entry options as well. With all that being said, I'm going to shoot 2 ends of practice here at 20 yards. Like I said, ignore the rooster. And I'll film it the whole time, and I'll move the camera around to different positions so you can get different views. Like I said, the last time I did this on a target bow or with a target bow is when I was a kid, like 12 years old. So it's been a considerable amount of time, and I've never really shot inner 10 ring not on an official face like this one, so it'll be very interesting to see how it goes. And I did have some comments in the previous video about bear shaft tuning. Totally forgot about bear shaft tuning on a compound, so I'll probably end up playing with that because the bullet hole was so, relatively close through paper. So maybe another video I will bust out the bear shafts and see what kind of tune I can end up with. Already somewhat sighted in, but I'm going to spend the 2 ends to mostly get warmed up here. Now if they could all just end up like that, that'd be great. All right, first end practice done. 1 more to go, and we'll start scoring. It is cold here in Florida today. It's all, I think, a high of like 52. So it's pretty chilly right now. I'm just glad I don't have to use my fingers like I would on my recurve. I got a really small fiber in here right now, and in years previous when I have shot some indoor rounds for fun, I really like a big, giant, huge black dot. Now I can see why I actually like that more, because now I can really see the holes in the target, and it'd be nice not to see those. Just cover it with the big, giant black dot. Still sitting slightly low. I tried moving the arrow up a little higher to load up the top cam, as a few people did comment, because I feel like I'm running a lot of back weight compared to front weight, and it still feels like it wants to just sit low. That was a good one. All right, next end, start score, 60 arrows. I'll let you know what I shoot at each half. Let's see how it goes. I am also playing around with different angles of the hand and flatness of it. I'm trying to make it as flat as possible so I can get a little bit more solid and I guess consistent anchor. So I'm playing around with that. So you might see me fidgeting a little bit trying to get that consistent. Now you might be asking, this is an indoor round, why are you shooting it outside? Just in my backyard, that's why it's the Backyard Archery Championships. All right, first end of score down. I think it's a 30 from here. I'll come back after each end and I'll tell you what I shot, because sometimes I'll get some close ones, line calls, and I won't know. That first one was a 29. First arrow was out. That's why I'm gonna call him and let you know what the score was when I come back, because I can't tell until I go down there. Drifting left when it went off. The little 10 ring is super small. That was a 28. That was a 29. Oof. Just started to move left. I hope I caught that one. That one was a 30, finally. That one was a 29. The middle one was just high. That was a 30. Pushed on that one a little too much. That one was a 28. Really close on the middle one, but I don't know. The target's shredded pretty good, so probably at the half I'll swap it for a new one. Hit right behind the pin. Drifting low. That was another 28. When they break really nice, I really enjoy it. Just got to figure out how to blueprint those ones that do go really well. I'm starting to get the placement of the anchor. I've turned my hand up a little bit more and back a little bit more. Definitely way more solid there. That was a 30. 3 Well shot arrows. Last end for the first half here. So I ended up that first half with a 289 out of 300, and man, it is hard hitting that little, the X every time. So I'm gonna go grab a new target face because I'm starting to have a hard time calling where the arrows are landing, and I'll keep doing the same thing and let you know what I end up with in the end and give you my final thoughts here on this indoor round, first one with a target bow forever. So I forgot to hit record on the first end of the second half here. Put up a new target face, and then I shot 2 okay shots and one that went really fast. And I turned over and looked at the camera and it was off. I shouldn't have stopped it. Should have just let it kept rolling after I got the target face, or before I got the target face. Anyway, arrows shot are arrows shot, and scoring is scoring. That's how it works in tournament archery. If you shoot the arrow, even if somebody bumps you, except NFAA, the value is what the value is. So I'm going to go down and score that, and that's the start to the first half. And now that the sun's rolling into where I want to stand, I'm going to have to start chasing the shade around. So it's always a challenge shooting in the woods here like this with the broken up shadows because of the trees. That was a 30. Ooh, that was moving left. And I think I healed it a little. That was a 28. Last one was a 30. Hit right behind the pin. Drifted left right when it went off. And that last one was a 28, and I need to start chasing the sun or the shade. This is kind of what I'm dealing with. So if I stand where I started, the sun's completely out. I got a little tree and then sparkles coming through the pine needles. So I think I'm gonna chase the shade here. So sorry about the lighting, because everything's gonna be really bright except for my face, because my face is gonna be in the shade, so I can actually see. Oy. Sitting low right when it went off. That last one was a 28. Moving left when it went off, no surprise. Definitely need to work on stabilization here for sure. Just not quite staying put enough. Definitely want to get rid of this dot though. There's a 29. That was a 30. Oh man, that sat so good. And then right at the end it just went boop. It was the opposite of a dip bang. I can't tell if sometimes it wants to rise. It's very rare, but mostly it wants to dip. Like that one, sitting low, sitting low, sitting low. Went in the middle, and then went high. Probably has to do with whatever I'm doing pressure-wise into the system, maybe. That one sat low the whole time. That last time was a 28. I think I leaned forward on that one. The sun was coming in my eyes. That one went up again. That one was great. So, good way to end. Excellent shot to end with, in fact. So I'm going to take you down there and I'll total it up, and we'll summarize the indoor round here for the Kaminski Archery Backyard Championships with my compound. All right, well, the total for my score here was a 578 out of 600. Inner 10 ring here at 20 yards, 18 meters on the World Archery face, a vertical 3 with just the baby X ring in the middle. So very challenging to score because the target gets tore up so much, you know, these big arrows just absolutely destroy it. And there's no outer 10 ring to reference to call an X with ease, because the 2315, if I remember correctly, cannot possibly touch the 10 ring and the X ring at the same time. It's always touching one or the other, if I remember correctly. Maybe that's with the 2312s. Either way, I'm pretty happy with the score. It's higher this year than it was last year by, I believe, 2 points. I didn't crack into the 290s on either round, unfortunately. I just barely missed it on both of those. But I had a lot of fun, and I did find out a good, solid anchor point. You know, I mentioned at the beginning of the video I was going to be potentially fidgeting a little bit with the hand placement, and I feel like I ended up turning my hand a little more vertical so I could feel more of my like ring finger knuckle against my cheek, almost my pinky knuckle, and I think I even pulled it back a little bit, and it really solidified my anchor to the point of where I didn't see the peep move at all once I got into a good solid anchor. So I'm really happy to see that I was able to kind of dial in where my good solid anchor point should be. Now next is going to be how I'm pushing on the button to actually make it fire after, you know, I go through the first travel click here on the Onyx clicker, and then that last little squeeze to make it fire. And it's just like, which direction am I pushing it? More in, more back? I don't know, and I'm just trying to figure that out still, because I have an inconsistency in my timing of when I'm like, okay, start squeezing and it firing. It varies a considerable amount, and on some shots it just takes forever. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the score, and I didn't even think to bare shaft tune this thing, and that's definitely something I'm going to play with. But for sure, I need to work on my stabilization setup. It sits low, right? Some of it I think has to do with the pin itself, because right now what I'm using for a pin is a ultra tiny fiber. Like, it's so small. And it's so bright, I get a sunburst, especially when I've got the sun sitting on the sight, but my face is in the shade. This thing is just a little bit too bright. And I like a big fat dot for indoors. I really like that idea of it basically always touching the 10 ring no matter where you're at, kind of. But like I said, it sits kind of low. And then I was towards the end when I could really, you know, once I was really solid on my anchor, I could really pay attention to stuff that I was doing, and it was just sitting like the fiber was touching the 10 ring low, the X ring, and sometimes it'd be moving to the left when it went off. That happened probably 4 or 5 shots probably, and then a couple times, at least towards the end, I don't know why, because normally I get tired, I would hit lower and lower, but it started sitting good in the middle, and then all of a sudden it would want to just pop up at the very end. So I must be doing something funny there. I'm open for suggestions. If anybody has any ideas out there, please let me know. Definitely going to try the SOS, the saws here on my target compound, see how it goes, because I do like it on my hunting rig. I need to dial it in and get it figured out. It just is something that I'm thinking is probably the next step to tweak and play with to try to dial that in a little bit better, so it can sit a little bit more comfortable for me, and I can focus more on the execution and not worry about the drifting of that pin so much. I think that would really dramatically help. But overall, I'm really happy with my score here for the Kaminski Archery Backyard Championships. Like I said, if you're interested in doing this and entering into the tournament, you learn an incredible amount about your shot process, your technique, your mental process, your training regimen, your bow setup, all sorts of different things that you wouldn't otherwise learn unless you put yourself under some constraints and some pressure. And this is a great way to start doing it. You don't have to go to a range. Like I said, I'm here in my backyard. I'm shooting this indoor round outside. Totally fine. Doesn't matter. But the benefit of it is I put myself under some time constraints, scoring constraints, amount of arrows, and I ultimately put myself under some pressure, and it shows me where my lack or where my faults are, what I need to work on next. And so, like I said, stabilization is going to be one of the next things that I tweak on this bow before I do anything else, because I feel like it's going to make a big difference for me. And I wouldn't have known that otherwise. Just shooting, having some fun, I probably would have ignored it and said, it's fine, it's close enough. But because I was more critical of myself and the bow setup, definitely it will end up being much, much better once I tweak it some. So like I said, if you are interested in entering into the Backyard Championships, I will have links down in the description below to KaminskiArchery.com or jkaminski.com. They take you to the same place, and I will also have a link at the top up there. Plus, I'll have the full details for the giveaway of the Easton X10 Parallel Pro 3.2mm arrows of your choice of spine, as well as your choice of weight for tungsten points, and a few other things that we do ship worldwide to the winner. And the way you enter is you register for the Backyard Archery Championships and submit your scores. There's also no purchase necessary, free entry option as well. Again, all the details down in the description below. And I really hope that everybody out there takes advantage of putting themselves under some pressure to learn a whole lot about themselves. And we do have the Battle of the Clubs going on as well. We haven't announced that award yet, but it's going to be a nice trophy or plaque, and then a bunch of individual winning medals for the highest participation of club members or a single club once the tournament is over. With all that being said, I'm excited to go tweak my stabilizer setup and get that dialed in a little bit better. And now that the sun has come out, it's actually a little bit warmer, and it's finally taken the chill off of Florida here. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions, comments, feedback, ideas, anything like that, please, I'm open to suggestions and ideas. With compound stuff, I'm just playing around, and I know there's tricks out there, especially that pertain to very specific bows. And hearing that feedback about the TRX 38 and the G2, it's really, really nice to hear, and it helps speed up the process, and that way I can just enjoy shooting the bow some more. And also, if you got value out of this video, if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscription button and the notification bell down below. Check out all of our apparel available on my website, jkaminski.com. There's many different ways you can help support the channel, including all the different links down in the description below, including affiliate links. Really helps me out if you click those links before you shop there, and I appreciate it very much. Thanks for watching.